Hey guys, I have a different style of video for you today. Basically, we're going to be diving into how I use the RGB mixer to color correct Josef Hasler's Band live at Barely's. Essentially, the footage came out very dark and grainy, and I can show you how the RGB mixer can salvage your footage in Davinci Resolve, so let's just dive into it. Okay, so now that we're in Davinci Resolve, I'll take a look. So first off, let's just clear off all these nodes. So basically, this is how the image was looking, and you can already tell before I put this into Rec 709, it's going to be super dark. What you could do, is bring up your exposure. And does that really even do anything though? It's not enough. You can still see in him, it's so pixelated, everything like that. So what I did was, let's hop into the RGB mixer. So you can see we have the three different options for red output, green output, blue output, and they all will stay at 1. If you never touch this, it always stays at 1. So first, let's just try and move some of these numbers. You move the blue up, get more blue. Move the blue down, get more yellow, which is the opposite on the vector scope. And then for green, same deal. You're going down the green side, and then when you go to the other side, you're going to the magenta side. And then red, you can probably guess. It goes red down to cyan. Okay. So with that being said, you are able to bring some what we call like information back. So for example, if we start bringing some info back, you can see in the vector scope as well the way it starts to warp. And you want to bring it towards the middle if you can. So I'm just going to make that like that. Maybe it's like too light. Down. Go like there. So you see here, with it off, you have all the pink in his face. And so, sorry, Joseph got all the sweat here. Let me put it on. And you can see it looks more natural, like more information on him. And even you could do what I did with the white balance. I just brought, again, even more in the center. But the white balance is not the same thing as RGB mixer. I will prefer to preface that. So I'll bring up the one that we made. We had it, so you got 92, 87, 76. And you can see like the clear difference on his face and the vector scope. So let's clear out. Now I can show you what else we did here, which is saturation. If you don't already know, for saturation, I always go into the HSV color space, and then I turn off the channels 1 and 2. From there I go to the gain wheel and I move it up and down. I usually like to stay around like 1.11, but for this one there's already so much saturation going on already that I just only put it to 6. And then we get to the contrast. How I like to do the contrast here is I let you do a lot to the wheels. You can see how not only is it boosted as well, it gives it more character. So once we fix the clips to make them, all the information is now back, we're able to show them off a lot better. Now we're like, how can we make this more interesting looking? For this particular video, we wanted it to be very vintagey looking. So we took one of the Maryland LUTs in our vintage pack that we have, Maryland 60 is what it's called. We only put it to 77%. And the next one we did was Kodak Tetrachrome 400, and we put it to about 40%. That's how we end up making this image here. And then we tagged on some grain. For grain, I usually these are the settings I usually go with. You go 35 mil. 25% is usually like my favorite spot to be at. People usually prefer more, but I usually like just like a very subtle grain to not overpower the image. And then finally I just did like another offset pass to make it just a bit brighter. Here is the final product of it. Yeah. Okay, so that was the RGB mixer. I learned this online somewhere, basically just looking up how I could salvage footage that's pretty dark and grainy, and this is what came up. and never heard of the RGB mixer, I hope some of you filmmakers out there are able to take note of it and maybe use it in your stuff later on. As well, be sure to check out the full version of Josef Hasler's live show there. It was a pleasure to work on. He has some amazing musicians, very talented. Finally, just let me know if you guys like this style of content. I'd be really happy to share more of any of the kind of tidbits I learn along the way. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, hopefully. Peace.